banks from research at universities, where the incentives for specializing in the more fundamental type of research are stronger. What, ladies and gentlemen, what about the impact of economic science on policy? I myself, I very much believe in the maxim that, quote, most of the fundamental ideas of science are essentially simple and may, as a rule, of course, may as a rule be expressed in a language comprehensible to everyone. And this is not something I have made up myself, but it's actually a quote by Einstein. I could have invented that myself, as you could have done, of course. And this is also what I have always so admired in Jan Tinbergen's approaches. In my own field of monetary policy, the fundamental ideas of science have indeed been intuitive and simple. They have had a tremendous impact on policy. And I guess that most of you are familiar with many of the key insights on the relevance, for example, of price stability, on the cost of inflation, on the inability of monetary policy to raise the structural growth of the economy, and on the importance of central bank independence from political influence. The point here, I think, the point here is that these essentially simple insights were distilled from a huge and often very complicated body of research. And I'm thinking here about the almost endless list of contributions in the 60s and 70s on the shape of the Phillips curve, for example. And I'm thinking here also about the research on time inconsistency that emerged from the late 70s onwards, and research on central bank independence in the 80s and the 90s, and recent discussions on central bank accountability and communication. And several of you have been involved in this research. Perhaps current researchers can take comfort in the fact that one day the outcomes of current scientific debates may also become glaringly obvious. But in the meantime, we need to struggle on before science reveals the answer to us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude with a forward-looking perspective. It seems obvious that globalization and financial innovations will continue, so that complexity in the economic and financial system will continue to increase. Take the financial turmoil of the past year, to which I referred already. It will take probably several years to fully understand what has happened and is happening in the financial sector, and to put present developments into perspective. I think it really will take years. I do not go as far as Winston Churchill, who asked for the consequences of the French Revolution in 1709. I do not go so far as he, because he said it's too early to draw firm conclusions. Well, obviously there is a need to tailor our policies, for example, financial supervision and monetary policy, to the dynamics that we have witnessed in the financial sector. But, ladies and gentlemen, in order to do so, we need, I think, a thorough understanding, as thorough as possible, of what is going on. And here the academic world comes in. With a more complex and dynamic financial system, our demand for high quality analysis and research can only increase. And at the same time, while demands are increasing, resources are under pressure. This is the old story. The efficiency operations of the current government that apply to the ministries, to the universities, to the Central Planning Bureau. They also apply to the Dutch Central Bank. Well, I fully support, I'm not allowed to say something else, of course, but I fully support the need for an efficient public sector and an efficient central bank. I also see a risk that knowledge-intensive functions could be under disproportionate pressure. A key characteristic of research is that it requires relatively long time horizons, and that its payoff emerges in the medium rather than in the short run. And as a result, it can easily be crowded out by the many policy issues that continue to require immediate attention. The challenge, to my mind, is to protect key research areas from such pressures and to maintain the human capital in our institutions. Let me once again show my great gratitude for the honor that you have bestowed upon me, and thank you for your attention, or perhaps I should better say thank you for your patience.